Hello everyone, my doctor. I want to present my weekly presentation. The topic is strategic crisis communication. And during the crisis, it's a time where it's not business as usual. Actually, the crisis have a negative undertone. That is the reason why no organization want to have a crisis. But however, even if organization wish it or doesn't, sometimes crisis comes. That's the reason why it is of necessity for every organization to plan towards it. So having said that, what is crisis? Crisis actually is anything that have the potential to significantly impact the organization. And when we are talking about this impact, it's usually referring to a negative impact, the organizational reputation and all that. So crisis, reaches a critical phase and is strengthening towards the people or the property of the organization. It seriously interrupts the businesses. Crisis significantly, damage organizational reputation. Crises have a negative impact to the bottom line. So we have under this discussion or this presentation, I have with me here about four types of crisis. We have natural disaster. Under the natural disaster, we have tornadoes, we have earthquake, we have hurricanes, we have flood, we have drought, we have severe storm. We have under the product record, we have misbranded, we have adulterated or vanity product in the market. We have another type of crisis, which is the hazardous, material and medical emergency. Under here, we have leaks, build-up of toxic materials, heart attack, broken bones, and all that. We have under technical breakdown and utility failures, we have software and hardware failures, we have infrastructural collapse, we have computer virus, we have power outage. The next one under this, we have workplace violence and organizational misdeed. Here we have violent action against others in the organization or in the workplace. We have deception. We have here the management misconduct, misrepresentation, and illegal action. So, in a summary of all this, whenever a crisis comes in an organization, it usually bring a shock to the organization, because it's a scandal. And whenever it happens, it brings a meltdown to the organization, like what coronavirus is doing to many organizations nowadays or today. So, which could be explosion, which could be product recall, product outcall, company relocation. Okay, so what should communication be directed to? What could we call a effective communication during crisis? Effective communication during crisis should be the one to reduce the tension, because whenever there is crisis, there is always tension. But the communication should be the one to demonstrate a corporate commitment to correct the issue. And also, communication at this time should be the one to take charge of the information flow. Okay, so the next one, we have the varied audience. In planning a communication, we should have knowledge on the audience. So the nature of the crisis is dependent on the variety of the audience. During crisis, we may have investors as the audience, we may have the non-makers and the regulators, we may have the customers and suppliers, we may have the press, employee, competitors, and the public. In some ways, we may have all this as our audience. So all this will determine the kind of information or communication we will present during a crisis. So having said that, we should also look out of the means to actually to distribute this information. So the mode of communication to be adopted is a determinant factor of the nature of the crisis and the audience involved, which could include mass media. It could also include traditional media, which is the press, televisions. It could also include social media like Facebook or Twitter and others. We could use email. We could use telephone calls. We could use website. Okay. So during crisis, there are some things actually there are some do's and the don'ts. So the do's, one of the do's is we should actually immediately take action. We should elect a chief spokesman. We should impart true information. Issue regular situation updates. Explain in details the action plan. Target communication towards the affected in conscious and compassionate language. Keep up to communicate, and to regain trust. Okay? So the next is the don't. One of the don't is we should keep away from passing the buck. We should avoid issuing self-serving messages. We should refrain from using technical jargons. Avoid issuing conditional regrets and untimely press releases. Lastly, under there, we should prevent employees from communicating on behalf of the organization. We should have a representable spokesman, of the organization. So lastly, after we must have done all this, we should do what we call follow-up. This is usually a post-resolution of crisis. It is important to keep in touch with the affected audience by doing what? By focusing on the needs of those affected. Okay? We should address their continuing concern. We should also thank outsiders who partner, to helping to resolve the crisis. And also we should recapitulate the situation after the crisis. This should be the overview of what happened, what transpires. And lastly, setting the emergency procedure manual for the future non-occurrence. So this and many more is all we needed to do in order to have an effective crisis management. So thank you.